I commit to telling the truth from this podium every single day. I commit to speaking on behalf of the President of the United States. That is my job. And I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people, and that's exactly what this administration is doing.
But what does he focus on? I'll tell you what he's focused on. Shower head.
You wash your hands, and in my case, I like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair. I have to stand under the shower for 15 minutes till it gets wet. It comes out drip, drip, drip. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it comes out drip, drip, drip. I believe that's how Stormy described it too, right?
From this podium, it's clear that the president is putting forward policies that are incredibly popular with the American people. And that's exactly what this administration is focused on delivering.
And it's about time we have a president in the Oval Office who is putting the world on notice and is putting the American people first, and again, is using the leverage of the United States to negotiate good trade deals.
Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, she's 27 years old. She's the youngest press secretary ever. She's married to a much older real estate magnate, which, in that case, you're hired. Leavitt is now the ringleader at the White House, where she promised a new and more circus-like atmosphere going forward. All right, and now I'll take one question from F. Jerry and two from the Rizzler, okay?
Trump's press secretary claims she's committed to telling the truth, but Jimmy Kimmel wasn't having it. On live national television, he pulled back the curtain with sharp late-night sarcasm. So, what happens when loyalty runs headfirst? Into comedy? Why did Karoline's statements spark one of the most ruthless takedowns of the year? And how did Trump respond when his own spokesperson became the joke? Let's break it down. Everything you're about to see is real, shared here for public commentary and educational purposes. No voices altered, no facts made up, just the record and what it reveals. Listen closely. S.
There is now a member of the European Parliament from France who does not think the U.S. represents the values of the Statue of Liberty anymore. They want the Statue of Liberty back. So is President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So they should be very grateful to our great country.
If this is your first time witnessing the circus up close, don't forget to hit subscribe, because we're just getting started. Karoline Leavitt says it's about time America had a president who knows how to lead on the world stage. Jimmy Kimmel says it's about time someone explained what kind of circus she's actually running. At just 27, Karoline became the youngest press secretary in U.S. history, and according to Jimmy, the youngest ringmaster of a press room now. Fielding questions from Fiery and the Rizzler. But behind the punchlines lies a serious question. What does it really take to defend the indefensible and still keep a straight face?
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have. They don't get charged on foreign companies. They get charged on the imports.
As I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press.
And just when things at the podium couldn't get more uncomfortable, Karoline decided to rewrite history. When asked about France, she claimed they should be thanking America, or else they'd be speaking German. It was the kind of comment that makes your high school history teacher wince and leaves everyone else, silently wondering how she landed this job in the first place. But there's more.
All that chickening out. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation. But don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question.
The only thing that would make it worse is if somebody changed the lyrics to a song by his beloved Village People to drive it home.
Taco.
This could be the new YMCA. They can play it at rallies. You can do TACO. Right?
When asked about tariffs, Karoline didn't offer clarity. She got defensive. Instead of facts, she served up attitude, then turned around and blamed the reporter for simply doing his job. And if that's the tone being set at the podium, just imagine how the rest of this White House is running. Trump didn't keep us guessing for long.
Think about that. The best thing Trump has ever done for America was undo the incredibly dumb thing he did. I mean, imagine if he quit. He could usher in a whole new era of prosperity. This was not his plan. He probably didn't even have a plan. He's tariffing through the whole thing is what he's doing.
From the press room to the rally stage, the chaos only got louder. Trump declared the country stone cold dead. Dodged a straightforward question. Somehow spun it into a rant about negotiation. Jimmy Kimmel didn't miss a beat rebranding. Him from Macho Man to Taco Man? Funny? But beneath the laughs was something more serious. A presidency veering into full-blown parody.
Let's be honest, even Donald Trump, not only doesn't he have a plan, he doesn't understand why he did this. Maybe he did it to distract us from all the other horrible stuff. Maybe he did it to distract us from the fact that they're deporting college students and firing the people in charge of fighting disease and fire.
According to Jimmy, Trump's biggest accomplishment was canceling his own worst idea. No real plan. There's no clear path. Just a cycle of tariff talk rants and half-finished thoughts. It wasn't governing. It was like watching someone try to wing a presidency the same way you'd wing karaoke. No lyrics, no rhythm, and way too much volume.
He stayed the course. It was a golf course, but he stayed it. He did not stay the course. He drove the economy into a sand trap and took a mulligan. That's what he did. The White House was trying to play this like it was some grand strategy, like this was the plan all along. The White House press secretary said it was just another example of the art of the deal.
Of course, Trump didn't stay quiet. He never does. What followed wasn't just a response. It was a full-blown digital meltdown. And trust me, you'll want to see what set him off. All clips and quotes are public and used here for commentary. Under fair use. This time, though, his outrage didn't stop at Twitter.
And it said basically, he is the worst host of the history. I said, he's one of the dumbest human beings ever. What a dope. Jimmy Kimmel is every night. He hits me, I guess. His ratings are terrible. He's not a talented guy. I hear he hits me all the time, so I figured I'd hit him because I thought he was a lousy host.
Trump didn't just fire back online. He took the meltdown to the stage and straight to the cameras. He called Jimmy the worst host in history. It's a dope and one of the dumbest human beings ever. All that, just because Jimmy made fun of him. But instead of sounding like a leader standing up for his team, it felt more like a man losing an argument in his own head, live and on air.
Stupid Jimmy Kimmel. We're off to a good start. Who still hasn't recovered from his horrendous performance and big ratings drop as host of the Academy Awards, especially when he showed he suffered from TDS, commonly known as Trump derangement syndrome, to the entire world by reading on air my truth about how bad a job he was doing that night. The first time Donald Trump ever tries to stop someone from talking about him on television, and it's me. Usually when he wants somebody to stop talking about him, he pays them $130,000, but he wanted me to do it for nothing. I wonder what it was specifically that sparked his Trumper tantrum.
For once, Trump didn't want someone talking about him on TV, and that someone was Jimmy Kimmel. As Jimmy put it, Trump usually pays $130,000 to keep people quiet. But this time, he expected silence for free. Kimmel dubbed it a Trumper tantrum. And honestly, he wasn't wrong in the end. All that outrage didn't fix the story, it confirmed it. The more this White House tries to control the narrative, the more obvious the chaos becomes. And that's where the real problem starts.
We are in a period of economic transition. We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration. Joe Biden left this country in an economic disaster.
Wait, there was a disaster and we didn't know about? Did you know about it, Guillermo?
No, I didn't know.
The MAGA media, because they know Daddy Donald is always watching, is bending over backwards to try to spin the fact that Trump is intentionally crashing the economy for reasons unknown.
As the economy struggles, Karoline once again points the finger at Joe Biden. But according to Jimmy, even MAGA media looks unsure. While Trump's team keeps blaming the past, the present keeps falling apart, and the spin. It's starting to spin completely out of control.
And I can tell you the phones have been ringing off the hook, wanting to talk to this administration, this president and his trade team to try to strike a deal. And it's because the world knows that they need the United States of America. They need our markets. They need our consumer. The president has a lot of leverage on his side because he has the best economy and the best country in the world that he leads, and he knows that. And it's about dang time we finally have a president who uses that economic leverage to benefit American workers. The jig is up. Past American presidents sat by and let this happen, but President Trump stood up for our country, and he is saying no more. The president's message has been simple and consistent from the beginning. To countries around the world, bring us your best offers, and he will listen. Deals will only be made if they benefit American workers and address our nation's crippling trade deficits. America does not need other countries as much as other countries need us, and President Trump knows this.
Karoline claims the phones are ringing off the hook like the whole world can't wait to strike a deal with Trump. But if that were true, you'd think someone would have answered by now. What we heard wasn't a briefing, it was a performance. And like much of this administration, the louder it gets, the less it seems rooted in anything real.
Jig is up. Past American presidents sat by and let this happen, but President Trump stood up for our country, and he is saying no more. The president's message has been simple and consistent from the beginning. To countries around the world, bring us your best offers, and he will listen. Deals will only be made if they benefit.
But what do you see? Is Karoline the voice of conviction? Or just another echo in the Trump show? Let us know in the comments, she claimed. The jig is up, but somehow it still feels like the same old script. The world will bow, Trump will deal, and only he knows what's best. Because if the truth needs protection, it's not from the press. It's from power.
Tell us that the lie heap, is not one of those affected?
So you're asking a hypothetical based on programs that you can't even identify.
No, I just identified.
What I can tell you
just
is
be
that
clear, since you guys haven't identified, let's do it together just for Americans at home. Medicaid, is that affected?
I gave you a list of examples: Social Security, Medicare, welfare benefits, food stamps that will not be impacted by this federal policy.
Because in any true democracy, truth isn't defined by those in power. It's what power must answer to. That's why a free press matters, not to tear down a president, but to remind him he doesn't own the narrative, he's accountable to it.
Courts should have no role here. There is a troubling and dangerous trend of unelected judges inserting themselves into the presidential decision-making process. President Trump is in the process of rebalancing America's trading agreements with the entire world, bringing tens of billions of dollars in tariff revenues to our country, and finally ending the United States of America from being ripped off. These judges are threatening to undermine the credibility of the United States.
So after all the spin, sarcasm, and shouting, what are we really left with?
Our headquarters in Hollywood, where a lot of the country watched a very special episode of The White POTUS tonight. It was a night of pomposity and circumstance as Donald Trump addressed a joint session of Congress because, he rarely gets to be on TV, so why not? We are on day 2 of another round with President Donald Jocelyn Trump. Only 1,459 days to go. It's been 24 hours since he was sworn in. Already Donald Trump has ended the war in Ukraine on day 1, just as he promised he would. Oh, he didn't? Well, he should resign then, right? I mean, we are in a very weird, precarious time in the history of our country.
In the end, it all unfolded like another special episode of the Trump White House packed with pomp. Big promises and primetime spin. Jimmy called it exactly what it felt like. Dramatic speeches, broken timelines, and a president who treats attention like oxygen, but beyond the punchlines. He highlighted something real, how fragile truth becomes when those in power no longer feel the need to answer to it.
At this point, President Trump has secured more investments in the United States of America in 100 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years. President Trump is America's businessman in chief, and that's why these trillions of dollars in investments are flooding to our country.
Been an historic 100 days, some would say prehistoric. It is difficult to give Trump's first 100 days a grade, but if I had to, I'd say it falls somewhere between F and U.
It began with a promise from the podium to tell the truth every single day. But what followed was a wave of contradictions, awkward defenses, and angry outbursts. Karoline tried to rewrite the record, and Trump tried to control the reaction. But the disconnect only got louder, and maybe that's the point, when leadership turns into performance. Truth needs more than loyalty to survive. It needs the space to be heard. This video presents commentary based on real, televised segments, featuring Jimmy Kimmel and his public remarks about Karoline Leavitt. All content is rooted in verified clips, public appearances, and widely circulated media coverage. Our goal is to reflect what's already been said in the public sphere with no speculation, no personal attacks. This video fully complies with YouTube's community guidelines and fair use policy, created for the purpose of commentary, critique, and public interest. If this brought you clarity, context, or just gave you a reason to keep watching, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for what's next.